Hey everybody, welcome to the Fantasy Football Sit Start for the running backs. I'm just going to go game by game, player by player, telling you who to start and then also predicting how many touchdowns they'll get in the game. Before we get rolling here, please, if you can give me 2 seconds of your time for 2 clicks, a like and a subscribe. That helps our channel grow. The more we grow, the more features from YouTube are actually unlocked for us as a content provider, and we want to make our videos much better for everybody out there. So I missed, thanks to some internet issues at my house and Halloween and all that stuff, I missed the San Francisco-Arizona game. I apologize for that. Let's just start with London. Houston versus Jacksonville. I don't have Carlos Hyde or Duke Johnson as starts. I don't think either get in the end zone. I have them as a 9 and an 8 respectively. Those are kind of lower fringe flex guys, but I think you can find value elsewhere, especially at the wide receiver position if you're flexing somebody out. Leonard Fournette, I think, is a definite start. I think he gets in the end zone at least once, possibly twice. I have him at a 20. That's a very nice, healthy projection for a running back. Next game, we have Chicago versus Philadelphia. Yes, I know Chicago, David Montgomery had a nice game last week. I think he comes back down to earth against a tough Philadelphia team. I have him and Tarek Cohen as sits. I don't have either getting in the end zone. For Philadelphia, I don't have Jordan Howard as a start, but I actually do have Miles Sanders as a start. A lot of teams have been trying to attack Chicago with the running game and with the screen game. I think Miles Sanders is starting to pop off and be that elite rookie that everybody was hoping he would be. I like him this week. He was one of my favorite running backs out of the draft, and the projections like him as well. I think once again he'll be used in the screen game. So Miles Sanders is a start for me this week. Indianapolis versus Pittsburgh. Actually, Marlon Mack for me is projected as a sit analytics-wise. Let me say this. If I had him on my team, I would definitely start him. Marlon Mack, I think you have to start him every week. But daily fantasy-wise, I don't buy him this week. I don't like the projection at all. If James Conner can go, I know he's got the AC joint issue. If he can go, I think he's a definite start, and he gets in the end zone. Once again, Mack is not projected to get in the end zone. I would start him anyway if he was on my team. James Conner, I would definitely start. If he doesn't play, look for one of these, Jalen Samuels or Snell or one of these other guys to step in. I like the running back projection for Pittsburgh this week. I don't think either team's really going to do much in the passing game. So Pittsburgh in the running game, I like them. Next game on the list, Minnesota versus Kansas City. Is there a scenario where you don't start Dalvin Cook? Hell no, there isn't. But it's nice to see that my projection backs that up as well this particular week. Dalvin Cook's my favorite running back in terms of projections. I have him getting in the end zone at least twice, possibly 3 times against Kansas City. Now, in Kansas City, I don't like Damian Williams at all. But LaShawn McCoy, I think, is a start. I think he'll be involved enough in the screen game. I do think he'll get into I don't think he'll get in the end zone, I'm sorry, but I think he'll get enough catches and yards to make it worth your while as a flex player. The Jets versus the Dolphins. Le'Veon Bell I have as a start this week. I have him projected a little bit under a touchdown, so more likely 1 than 0, but I don't think he's going to have like a really crazy good game against the Dolphins. Meanwhile, the Dolphins, I think you start Mark Walton this week. He's a very fringe flex player, but I think he's worth a start. I don't think he gets in the end zone, but I do think he's worth that play for yardage-wise. Tennessee, Buffalo, I think you're always going to start at this point Derrick Henry, and I think you should. I do have Derrick Henry projected to get in the end zone once this week against Carolina. Christian McCaffrey, you start him. I think he gets in the end zone once, possibly twice. I have him right at about 1.5 touchdowns this week, so I think you start him. Come on, would you really bench Christian McCaffrey? No, I wouldn't. I don't love him in daily fantasy, though. I think you can find better bang for your buck because he's so expensive, but definitely a start on your fantasy team. And gosh, if you have Christian McCaffrey and you don't start him, I don't care what he could be projected at negative 10 points. Come on, man, you gotta start that guy. Washington versus Buffalo. Nobody in Washington, by the way. Everybody out there, who has Adrian Peterson, start paying attention to Darius Geis. He's been activated. I think he's eligible in Week 11. He's somebody you're probably going to want to start picking up and stashing on your roster. I do think he will be the long-term starter going for the rest of the season, more so than Adrian Peterson. For Buffalo, I like Frank Gore this week as a start. I don't love Devin Singletary this particular week, though I'm happy that he got in the end zone last week. I've been basically calling and begging Buffalo to give Singletary the ball more. I think he's a dynamic player, but they're kind of easing him in. I know he's had some injury issues. Singletary for me is a start or a sit this week. Frank Gore is a start, but I don't really see him getting in the end zone. I think it's more the passing attack for Buffalo this week. Detroit versus Oakland. Johs Jacobs, Ty Johnson and Trey Carson, right? What's going to happen there? I'll be honest with you. I, like everybody else, Picked up Ty Johnson last week. I, like everybody else, was pissed off when Trey Carson was getting the carries there. But, I think this Detroit offense moved better with Ty Johnson in the game, so I'm kind of a hold on Ty Johnson. I don't have either one of these guys as starts this particular week against Oakland. I think this is going to be a passing attack for Detroit. For Oakland, I do think they're going to be balanced. I have Johs Jacobs as a definite start and a 1 to 2. I have him at about a touchdown and a half as well, similar to Christian McCaffrey this week. I do like him as a definite play, Johs Jacobs. I know he's got that shoulder that he's dealing with. He played last week. I'm sure he'll play this week. I think everything's fine there. Tampa Bay versus Seattle. I don't have either Tampa Bay running back getting in the end zone or start worthy at all. For Seattle, Chris Carson is definitely a start, and I think he gets in the end zone this week for you. Cleveland versus Denver. Nick Chubb. I think this is going to be more running than passing this week for Cleveland. Nick Chubb is a start. I think he bounces back off those 2 fumbles, those disappointing fumbles for Cleveland last week. Gets in the end zone at least once. I like Cleveland to win this game. For Denver, they're going to be running like crazy because they got their backup quarterback in there. Phillip Lindsay and Royce Freeman are starts for me. I think Phillip Lindsay has the better game, the more likely to get the touchdown. I think between these two, I have them projected at about a touchdown and a half, but split. So I think that, I would give basically projection-wise, I'd give Phillip Lindsay 1 touchdown and Royce Freeman a half touchdown. But I do think at least 1, possibly 2 for the Denver rushing attack. Green Bay versus the Chargers. Aaron Jones, you got to start him every week, right? I have him getting in the end zone twice. Jamal Williams actually this week is not a fringe start for me. I had him the last 2 weeks, and thankfully I got touchdowns out of him. But this week I actually don't like the matchup for him to get in the end zone, but I think those touchdowns do go to Aaron Jones. As for the Chargers, I actually like both Eckler and Gordon. I think that Gordon gets in the end zone. I think Eckler doesn't get in the end zone, but gets a ton of catches and a ton of yardage for you. I have them both, even with that touchdown disparity, I have both of them at about a 16. Nice, healthy projections for both of these guys. I don't think the Chargers are going to do much in the passing game, but that just means that they're going to run a little bit more. New England versus Baltimore. I don't have Sony Michel getting in the end zone. I don't have James White getting in the end zone, but I do have White as a start. Sony Michel is more of a very, very fringe flex play. I like James White this week more. I don't know if he gets in the end zone, but he gets you enough yardage to warrant that flex player, that start. For Baltimore, the Baltimore projections are blown up because of how New England's been playing defense this year. I think you should start, even though my projections say don't. I think you should start Mark Ingram this week, but stay away from Gus Edwards. Now for Dallas and the Giants, Ezekiel Elliott. I have Ezekiel Elliott getting in the end zone this week and a start. For the Giants, I have Saquon Barkley getting in the end zone this week and as a start. 1 touchdown for both of them. I have them both similarly projected, but nice, healthy projections for them. And I think that they'll both get in the end zone. So there you go. That takes me through the running backs. Check out our other videos for the quarterbacks, wide receivers, tight ends. And once again, please like, subscribe, comment. If you think I'm missing on something, let me know. I'm happy to have that discussion, and we'll catch you on another episode. Thanks, everyone.